good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. We are here, we are live, we're loud. It is the final game week dead. I don't know where to look. Normally, I'm hiding behind the intro screen doing this, but we're here for the game week live stream. Joined as always, I'm Quinny, of course, joined as always by my co-pilot, Harry Trades. Harry, good to see you, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. Thank you for asking. Yeah, and buzzing for another big game week. A bit of a weird one this week. It's kind of the end of not end of an era, but end of a season stream, I guess, for a lot of the European teams, or most of them.
Maybe it is a little bit end of era, Harry, because it is the end of like this European season that's on the pitch been quite historic. And, we've seen Europa League finals going already. We've seen some titles in some other places in Europe decided and whatnot. There's a lot more of that going on this week. But from a Sorare perspective, from all of us joining in to the stream here, a lot's happened this year, and a lot of it is signalling new, pastures new for the game and the platform and everything else in between. So you might be right there, Harry. I could definitely go along with you on that one. End of an era kind of season, where this is out with the old and then on we go forwards from here.
No, I can't. Yeah, I guess that does make a lot of sense if you attach it and connect it to the whole, new European season. This season this new season on Sorare for the Premier League will be our first full Premier League season, won't it? In terms of, starting from August. Maybe that signals like a big, everyone's big marketing push this and fiat wallet that and all that sort of jazz. So maybe we're sort of gearing up now in the next sort of 2 months or whatever. Like a massive, just a big sort of push in terms of getting this game out there to the masses, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And I think having that, the Global Cup, we're now getting this, the latest announcement that we kind of had, I think gameplay-wise, we can all get quite excited about is that we're going to get some more of that monthly leaderboard kind of action. And it'll be really interesting to see how all that's kind of, because we're going to get it in the summer in preparation of the new era, if we're going to say this is the end of one, as it were, so... I'm right up for it, Harry. I've got a few European cards running. I've got some non-European cards running. And I think for everyone who's joining us live, I'm putting these all on screen as I can. Everyone that's joining us live and loud, fist bumps to you all. Sorare scouts and managers that are joining us from here, there, and everywhere. Thanks a lot. Great to see you all joining us live and loud. Be really interested to hear, Harry, from the live chat, how many people are going to go, because this week is probably... I'll probably just throw this out there where we're letting the door swing open and letting everyone join us today. Live on YouTube. I think that's probably the only place we're live at the moment. But this weekend, the main show in town at the moment is all about the K-League Special Weekly. Me and Stishy Boy were talking about it at length on the End Product Podcast. Feel free to go and check that out at your leisure after the show. It's on the channel and on Spotify and Apple and all that good stuff. But Harry Boy, as we approach the deadline, this is, if you have K-League cards, the must-play competition this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, from what it seems, what's that? Tier 1 unique for first place. I've not got the firepower or even the depth to even think about entering this. But if you've got, if you're playing the K-League anyway, I know it's, people have said like this, won't/doesn't make up for, the lack of scoring and all that business. But, everyone's entitled to their opinion on that. But regardless, there's a massive sort of special weekly this weekend. If you've got the cards or if you had 4, you're probably buying one, aren't you? Like Charlie said to us before we went on stream, because prizes look insane. Tier 1 unique. Where do you even see that anywhere in a prize pool? I swear that doesn't exist, does it? Yeah.
I don't think it does. I think tier two is when McBride won last weekend for finishing top of D1 All-Star.
So it doesn't get better, basically.
Maybe in 270, but I would doubt it.
No.
T2, no.
Yeah. Okay.
So T1, the biggest unique prize ever offered. The bottom end of the star pool. This would be. So we're talking goalkeepers. Some of them under 23.
Alan Velasco unique. Wow. That would be massive. Beak unique. Rookie Puig unique. Wow. Aidan Morris.
Schultz is a monster.
He's a beast, yeah. For Euro, yeah.
Magno, sexy card.
Nosuda for Hiroshima. Gravenberch. Tolkien. Wow. That's nuts. And you're winning them with rares. don't forget. Potentially somebody's winning this, Gabby Pereira, New York City,
Yeah.
unique. Wow. This is
Santi Rod as well. A lot of good options in here, eh?
Christ. Yeah, this makes me feel like yeah. But apparently rewards are Kaylee Goni, according to Lunik, but we've heard otherwise, haven't we, Quinny?
We've heard otherwise. Who knows? Who knows? So yeah, that's if you've got rare and above K-League cards. The only thing I'm not, like, we can look at it here, right? There's not too much on the explanation for the details here. It just says play any card you want. Assemble the best team using 5 cards from K1 for the best chance to win great K1
Yeah.
rewards.
It is K1 then.
At least 5 players, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't seem to be any card bonuses on the go, but someone was saying to me earlier that the season bonus applies. So if you've got a new season or old season, the 5% might not be on or off. So check out that if you do have alternatives, and feel free to clue us in. But even beyond that top 5 spot, which has stellar prize rewards, top 5 unique, we then have 6 all the way back to 20, paying out good caliber T4 super rares, I beg your pardon. And then in the rare front, we're going from 21st all the way back to 100 for, what would be rares. I would expect this to have been all K1 cards anyway. There's definitely mixed reports on that. So, let's see how the reward pool shakes out in the end. But regardless of if it's K1 or not, if you're playing this, you've got K1 cards, and winning these kind of guys on top is not going to be a bad thing, Harry, is it?
No, not at all. Even if it is if you're playing that division, you obviously have K1, K-League cards, and you're not going to be too disappointed when you see like a tier 1 unique K-League card come out. So, it seems good. Like you said, that is probably the standout sort of competition because there's nothing crazy going on in terms of anything special outside of that. But okay, of course, it's just for K-League, so I'm not going to be entering personally. I don't know if you are, Quinny, but it's a nice little touch. Probably is the best way to put it.
I'm with you. I've not got enough K-League cards to even entertain it. Great question here coming in from Rizzo. There's a mention to it earlier in the live chat. Ugo has became the #1 AC Milan collector recently. I seen Sam tying on the live chat yesterday on the End Product podcast telling us he's now the #1 Granada collector, which is beautiful. I love that. And Rizzo's asking us how our collections are looking, Harry. Have you made any headway on collections, or are you doing anything?
Yeah, I was mentioning before the stream. I can share my tab for you if you want. I've made my Nottingham Forest collection into a 2%er by buying myself a cheeky little Jersey mint Ryan Yates. So I paid like 12 quid for Jersey mint Ryan Yates to boost up Brennan, who I bought, who is in Jersey mint, all one of, and Nico first owner as well. Again, not #1 or Jersey mint, but yeah, I'm happy with 2%. Like, there's not many other sort of Forest cards I'm really interested in getting. Maybe Morgan's Gibbs White, but that would never get me to 250, obviously. So I'm kind of like okay with that. I did the same for Dallas, so I have Paxton and I do have Jersey mint Jesus Ferreira, first owned, which I won, which is like my pride and joy. Sorry. So I bought this Isaiah Parker, who is a rookie. So he bumped me up to 110 before the 90-day 10 points kicks in. Is there any other Dallas players I'm really interested in getting? Probably not, unless they come out like stupidly cheap. My Red Diamonds' team is at 3%, but I've got my goalkeeper listed right now, who's Jersey mint and one of. So he's the talk of the town, as they say, in the J League sphere. But other than that, I'm not really. I mean, yeah, I do want my Barcelona to get to 2%. So I bought an Eric Garcia just for the lols to get my Petri bumped up. Again, 70 points away. So I do need a bit more going on there. I do want to do the same for Real Madrid for my Vinny. But other than that, right now, I'm not too bothered. I do have 2 Genk Super Rare cards by chance.
Nice.
So that, gets me to 1%. I'm at 50. I don't know if I really want to. I mean, there's obviously cards I'd love to have, but it's just, just might not be realistic. How are you looking?
Well, I made one wee addition this week. I was chatting before coming on the show. I can't remember if it was with yourself or with Charlie, but like, I've got this one of 100 OG Kosei I'm first owner on. So I knew he was rocking in with 70 points, which bags in the 1% anyway, but gets you quite far along the 2%. So I had a wee look around Shonan Pilmare cards for this season, for the season in question, and I picked up this guy who's a one of, and he gets me now up to the 2%. So Matani at level 20. I spent £7 on this guy, gets me up to that. But as you can see on the actual collection, he's actually worth 0 points for no reason known to man. So we have a glitch, we have a bug in the system. So it's not actually tracked yet. It still shows up here as 70. Shows Tanny's at 70, shows I own this guy and all everything. But yeah, so that's that. But what Rizzo might be asking is this week I've actually been quite busy cementing my place at the top of the Celtic leaderboard, gaining distance further on McBride and IAK. I've swapped out all my non-hooped forwards. So Dyson Maeda, Kyogo and Jota have all been swapped out now for jerseys. So they're only 10 points at the moment. They'll get another 10 in a few days. And I managed a Hendo to get Champion Edition Abada. Now, I'm made up to get this card, Harry, for a few reasons, right? It's a Champion Edition, which is beautiful, right? But I was so happy when Hendo won this card for him personally, just because it's a really good card and all the rest of it, right? But it's his first season at Celtic, it's his first card and all the rest of it. And he never got a rookie card. And this was like the only special edition that came out this year. So like from his first season, you know, that's what I kind of said to Hendo when he was buying it 12 months ago. And it's the way I feel about it is like, this is like the best Abada card that is going, you know, period. Yeah. I know his future's maybe a wee bit up in the air, but I actually kind of like that at the moment. Because I think if he leaves Celtic SO5-wise, he gets a lot more utility, becomes a lot more dangerous. And from a Celtic perspective, we'll get a lot of money for him if we sell him, you know. So yeah, I've got my hooped firepower all in the same kit now. It didn't really cost me too much, if anything, to make that happen. And yeah, firmly established #1 rare Celtic fan from the OG season, which is good fun for me.
Yeah, they're my favourite. I don't know why. I just my eyes and brain seem to gravitate towards that season of Celtic card. I don't know what it is. Like the red sort of rare card background on the hoops kit is just a weird but funky contrast. And yeah, I don't know. I really like it. I think it's great.
Yeah, me too. It's grown on me.
I don't know what it reminds me of, like a golf ball. The background. I don't know why.
Yeah, I get
it does,
that.
Isn't it, a little bit? Yeah, similar pattern.
Joe Ducey in the chat is a #1 Cincinnati fan. I think we all knew that already, of course, but it's nice to see it official, cemented in the Web3 stratosphere. And Harry Boy, we're getting some tips here. Fatty, who'd have thought you should be getting an Ansu Fati card, eh?
I know. I was actually only reading yesterday that apparently his agent is trying to get him to go to Wolves because Xavi's basically told him that he's not really in the plans next year and he needs to get a move on. So yeah, I think it's Jorge Mendes maybe, or somebody like that is his agent. And yeah, apparently Wolves is one of the names on the list, but I don't really see. Well, maybe that happened. I don't know. He needs to just go play football, doesn't he, regularly, like many, you know, young sort of young talents, I guess, but especially for him in terms of his injury record and stuff. Go prove to us why you deserve to be a 90-minute man every game type of thing.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I think Fatty needs a move because that whole Barcelona kind of weight on the world of your shoulders. You know, he's got the number 10. He's came through the academy. You don't need me to say the words. Everyone's heard it about every number 10 that comes through the youth teams in that club, you know. But we're going to get into the meat and the bones, Harry, of the Dedaline stream. We've got a lovely comment that I've seen here that I want to throw up. MU player clips. As a newer player, this is firmly entrenched in his lineup building strategy and his rituals. I absolutely love to hear that. And we're also live on Twitter, by the way, as well. So thanks to everyone who's joining us. If you are going to support the stream today, you can support the stream by engaging with the actual broadcast on Twitter, liking and retweeting, dropping a wee comment if we say anything stupid, funny, or whatever, anything else in between. Feel free to drop it in there. Or alternatively, if you do want to support the content in general on YouTube here and everything else, Harry's channel is linked in the description of the video. And this is the tweet here. Me and Harry are both linked up on it. You can go follow us both, share, like, engage with that if you want to support the content here. And we thank you all in advance for helping us out with that. But Harry boy, the people come here for to quote the podcast, I guess, for the third or fourth time, which I'm terribly sorry about. But they come here for the end product, mate. They come here to find out, where am I putting my powerhouse team? Who am I avoiding? Do I actually have some players that are more powerful this game week than I realised? And that all starts here on the Dedaline stream, and it all starts with the player matchups tab, isn't it?
Yeah, this is turned into, I guess, or developed into our sort of bread and butter in terms of the Dedaline streams itself. Can we recognise, where the matchups or the better matchups are this game week and every game week going forward, and then where can we exploit our cards that, one, aren't those cards, and two, where to play them if you kind of do have them. So it's a fun sort of thing to digest. It's weird not seeing your boys up there, or even in the top 10, Quinny. Obviously, they don't play, but it's going to be a weird matchups tab, I guess, this weekend for a couple of reasons. Obviously, we've lost a couple of leagues, and it's the kind of, it's the time where some teams are playing for everything, some teams are playing for nothing, which we saw last week as well, I guess. But plays into this more and more now this week, because I think every sort of league is done in terms of Europe, I guess, roughly this weekend, or maybe. I think
this weekend,
Turkey play next midweek, and whatever happens after that. But at the top of the list, I haven't seen these up there for a long time. Is Napoli, Quinny, at home to Sampdoria, who I think are relegated, right?
Yep, they are dead and buried. And this is a kind of bittersweet one, right? It's very sweet, of course. Napoli, they'll be getting the Scudetto trophy. They've won it. They won it a few weeks ago now. It's old news. I had made plans myself to go to Naples this weekend to experience it firsthand, but alas, not able to make it. But I think it's going to be a beautiful game of football to watch. It's at 5:30 on Sunday, and a lot of the football we're going to be mainly covering, the main European stuff, Harry, kind of finishes on Sunday, and the scheduling across both leagues is actually quite nice. You can catch a lot of the really good stuff if you're up for just having a good bit of armchair fun, And the Napoli team looks pretty formidable. Galini or Meret is actually a toss-up who's going to play in goals. But outside of that, I don't see Kim Min-jae for some reason. I don't know if he's injured, but Osman, Kravitsvlia, Zambo Anguissa, Lobotka, Zielinski, Raspadori, Di Lorenzo. A lot of these guys have been huge heroes this season. And much like Celtic last week, beating Aberdeen 5-0, I think Napoli are bringing that type of party.
Yeah, I can't see why they wouldn't want to go out on a bang in that sense. I think Kravitsvlia just signed a new deal, maybe, potentially. I'm sure I saw something yesterday. In regards to that. But, I mean, it's a great matchup. They're at home. They're lifting the Scudetto, like you said. Like, it's just kind of all plays into one of those ones where you're like, there's no pressure on them either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think you'd like to be part of. I'd like to be owning an Oshiman or a Kravitsvlia right now for this game week in that sense, because I just can't see how they don't go out and blitz them, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'm with you. And even looking at the Sampdoria team, we've looked at Sampdoria a few weeks in a row, mate, because they are normally the whipping boy of the best fixture of the week. They've been in the top 15 and the top 20 a few times, to say the least. And again, looking at their team, it doesn't inspire much beyond anything. They're just 11 guys turning up to get battered, doesn't it?
Literally. Do not be whatever you do this weekend, do not play Sampdoria cards. Just a little word of wisdom from us there. But no, Napoli at the top. We've got Palmeiras in second. We don't really cover the Brazilian league too thoroughly. I mean, I don't even know if they have cards. I don't think they have cards, do they? There might be some, non sort of Palmeiras cards in the Palmeiras team, but they don't have, they're not licensed, basically.
Yeah.
So we can kind of, disregard that. Lille away to Troyes. I mean, I think Troyes down if I'm... Well, they're 18. Well, I think they're down because I know Nantes are fighting for relegation, and I'm pretty sure Troyes too far gone in terms of points. But I could be wrong on that. Are Lille playing for anything, Quinny, is the question I've got for you. And maybe I'll have a little look myself.
Yeah, Lille will need to kind of cement their place. Monaco could catch them along with Rennes, and it could end up the way results could go, that Lille could be dropped out of it, but they would need to lose this game, Troyes or Troyes, they're down, confirmed. It's Nantes v Auxerre in a head-to-head for the final. I don't think they're playing each other, are they, directly? I think Auxerre have...
No, I don't think... Yeah, they're playing separate, obviously, but... yeah, like you said, there is obviously something to play for Lille, and yeah, again, yeah, they're away, but this does seem like a really nice fixture. Cabela, David's been scoring recently, clean sheets, capable in terms of Lucas
Yes.
Chevalier. I mean, yeah,
Timo Weah
there's
sitting at
only
left back.
yeah, which I don't mind. I actually watched him play it there live against PSG, and he looked really good actually. But yeah, I mean, it's a good fixture. There's only certain guys that you'd be like looking to sort of play, I guess, for Lyon in that sense, who will, who kind of just score well. But I'm sure the whole
Yep.
team will end up scoring well. But there's some big cards there. Cabela could be like 100 capable this week. I think I said that like a month ago. And I think that
Yes.
week, I don't know who he played. He like smashed. I think he had like a 96 or something. David's been like hot and cold recently, but this seems like a game where like, last game of the season, does he just go out and bang a hat trick just to like end that phase of his sort of career on a high? Because I think he'll probably end up getting a move. So yeah, it's an interesting one, but again, a smasher fixture, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you all the way on that, Harry boy. And there's a lot of Leo cards and a few Leo stacks out there, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them influencing the leaderboard. I did mention PSG there. They're next up, and it's not Auxerre they have, but it's
Clermont
Clermont
Foot,
Foot.
isn't it? Yeah. Where are they in the league? Are they down? No, they're
No,
not.
they're 8th, mate.
Okay, they're 8th. Yeah. Fair play. But obviously, we do have PSG at home, titles being wrapped up or whatever. But we've seen it too many times this season, and especially towards this end of the season. Clean sheets just aren't something that the PSG sort of pride themselves in, is it, Quinny? They seem to enjoy that end to end, will outscore you type of style of football in that sense. And yeah, Clermont Foot can go out here and just try and spoil a party in that sense, really, right? What have they got to lose? They're literally 8th in the league, like you said. Away from home, there'll be no pressure on them in this game at all. They're not fighting for anything. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying PSG won't go out and win, but I wouldn't be banking on any clean sheet here personally. We know what PSG are like.
Is this Messi's last game at PSG?
Ooh, I think so. Yeah, from what I've seen, like on the news and stuff, it feels that way. Even though he said like he's going to make his decision in June. I know we're in June now, I guess, but a bit, a couple weeks away maybe from hearing anything from him specifically in his situation. Yeah, if I had money on it, I would say it's his last game for PSG. What are you saying?
I was going with that. And with that in mind, I think PSG, that front line, whoever plays in midfield might be getting some assists, but Messi and Mbappe,
Potentially.
they're probably on for triple decisives each, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. I think Hakimi's come back into the side. I don't remember seeing him last week, so maybe I think that the young kid's been playing recently. So yeah, he's back. It's not full strength PSG, but it's closer to it to what it's been over the last couple of weeks. I don't know. I'm not saying don't play your Donnarumma and stuff, but you know who Donnarumma is and what he's sort of capable of. He's capable of those 80s if you can, sort of not concede. But I don't know. I'd be scared playing him against Clermont Foot, who are quote unquote dangerous, I guess, with nothing to play for in a weird way, no pressure. This nonce at home malarkey in 5th on our matchup tab is bugging me out a little bit. Obviously, Maxime Sorare, owner's favorite team, they are fighting for relegation. How in the world are we supposed to say that is a great fixture? I know they're playing on Angers, but like, well, I don't know. This feels wrong to me, if I'm being honest. In a weird way. Like we were saying last week, Quinny, like that Dortmund game, they're smashing this, smashing that. But pressure gets to players, Quinny. And we've seen that Nantes absolutely bottle the last half of the season. They were in that French League Cup, Quinny. They lost 4-0 to Toulouse.
Yep.
And Toulouse are a good team, don't get me wrong. But like, you should never be losing a final 4-0. I'm sorry. That should not be happening. I think the manager got sacked too late. I think Maxime was mentioning, and they've needed like 2 wins in the last 3 months or something stupid like that, just to give a bit of breathing space for them as a club to not get relegated. I know 4 go down this year, which is a bit of an anomaly, I guess, in terms of not many leagues where 4 teams get relegated. But I don't know, man. This doesn't scream top 5 fixture in the world this weekend, does it?
I think at home, Angers, I'm just looking at it, they've conceded 80 goals in 37 games, right? So they definitely can't defend. They've scored 33 and 37. And Nantes, their problem is kind of similar, but their numbers aren't quite as negative as maybe Angers. So I think on like odds and stuff, right, this has surely got to be a 1 or 2-0 victory to Nantes. And
in a normal
Angers,
game with normal circumstances, yes, I agree with you.
with Angers being rock bottom, dead and buried, it's really a case of, you know,
Who do they
how
play?
hard are they
Yeah,
trying, really? You know,
I
so
agree. I
that's
agree.
a part of it. I don't know, but I
It is.
think
It's a massive
at
part of it.
home
You're right.
they're too big to go down. I would say in the French league sense of the term. You know, and I know we've seen Bordeaux go down in recent times once or twice, and maybe one or two other clubs, but not have been in Europe quite a lot over the last little while. And not just that final you mentioned, but they've been in finals as well over the last 2 or 3 seasons domestically. So. I think they'll get the job done. And I think like, looking at your matchups tab there, and I'm saying yours like you make it, you know, it's Maxime that's made it. It's the goalkeeper and defense. It's them that are scoring high on this, you know, that
okay.
It's not the mids of the forwards, you know.
I guess so. Yeah, like if you look at the top four, I guess they've all got above 50% or above 3 goals scored, where Nantes are on 45%. Like you said, maybe the clean sheet type of because like their clean sheet probabilities are higher than PSG's, which is quite funny, but kind of true in that sense. We can back it, can't you? PSG do seem to concede 3-1s, 3-2s, 4-1s, 4-3s, whatever it is at home and stuff. So I can kind of see how that comes into the number form in that sense. So yeah, interesting one. I don't know if I'd have it that high, and I like what Joe Ducey has said there. Cincy at home, where they haven't dropped a point all season, hosting Chicago with who are Brady-less, and not not on that list is criminal. And I kind of do agree with him. Obviously, we haven't scrolled down yet. I'll leave that as a bit of a surprise to us and everyone watching, I guess, to see who's next. But Marseille away to Ajaccio, who again away from home, another French team, obviously. I think this could be like I'd argue this could be like a better fixture in a weird way, especially for like, your Sanchez's, maybe Cengiz Under, Jonathan Klaus. Not only do I foresee maybe a clean sheet here, but I do see like a bit of a romping as well in terms of, goals scored. Like away from home, there's, the other team's nearly 10-1 to win.
Yep.
It's kind of it's a nice place to be, I guess, as a Marseille player. Do they actually have anything on it though, Marseille, in that sense? Do they need
Nobody
to
has
anything
on it, and the manager has left the club yesterday.
Marseille's manager.
Yep, Igor Tudor, my man from Verona last year, and he's hotly linked to be the new Juve manager.
Okay, that's interesting.
I was hoping he was maybe going to be on standby in Glasgow in case we need a manager quickly, but it sounds like he'll be on the way to Turin, So I don't really know. I thought you were going to be on the same path as me, Harry. I think this could be a sneakily crap game, because
it could
nothing
be,
to play for. Managers out the door. They might even play this shape or system. Tudor's gone. So
true.
Who cares anymore? Really, they're going to be third. They've got Champions League qualifiers next season. So.
Yeah.
So that's just my kind of, I don't know.
No, I get that. Maybe it's a dead rubber in that sense, and maybe we don't really extract anything from it in a weird way. But I'd still expect goals. But like you said, I don't know. Maybe there is that sort of doubt in our minds, or should be in our minds. Twente at home to Heerenveen, I think is some sort of playoff, right? They played last night or yesterday, I believe. Twente came out on top 3-1, I think.
Yeah, so that's the way the playoff for European spots. Because the Dutch division kind of gets a little playoff group from, I think it's at like 4th to 8th or something. And then they kind of basically auction off through playoffs. I'll put it on screen now, the little tab for it. It looks to be the Conference League spot, the lowest ranking European spot that the league offers. So from the first legs, we've got Sparta 2-1 up and Twente 2-1 up. Then in the winners over 2 legs will play each other. I don't know if that's 1 leg or 2 off the top of my head. So yeah, European football on the line. And so Twente have been one of the... Yeah, and Twente have been one of the Sorare darlings of the season, so we would want to see them get European football again. Very strong team, full of household names to Sorare scouts and managers all over the world, Harry.
Yeah, this is like one of those ones where, like, Gaza, watcher of the show, good friend of ours, obviously, adopted that sort of Twente strategy in terms of getting a few, supers and uniques or whatever he's got in there. And it's paid dividends massively, because the big thing that stands out to me there, Quinny, is like there's one 80% guy. They're all 90% on Sorare data. And I know, you can't take Sorare data as gospel in that sense. But for the most, like for situations like this, and this has been probably the case for most of this season with 20, they're just so reliable and they don't really rotate. So, like from an SO5 perspective, Quinny, that's gold dust, isn't it? And they're good, if that makes sense. Like you need your cards to, be good in that sense. It doesn't matter if they play every game. If they score 35 a game, it's pointless for you. But this team doesn't. This team, excels that, exceeds that. Sorry, and yeah, I don't know. I think this has been like, a really good team to stack, probably along with like your AZ Alkmaars of the world in that sense, because they're just quite comparable in terms of, leagues and kind of personnel, I guess. But yeah, it seems like a great fixture. I don't really follow both teams too heavily, but Herveen need to go out and win as well. So it's going to be a fiery game, I imagine, for that conference spot. And yeah, just probably a good game overall. Gaza is in the building, which is great to see. Gaza, what's going on, man? But yeah, interesting one. I'm seeing. I'm sure Gaza won a big 20 result here.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the Heerenveen team isn't short of talent either. Sidney van Hooijdonk, Tom Hay or Tom High or whatever we're calling him, Milan van Uwijk, Andreas Nopper, obviously World Cup goalkeeper for Holland for like 5 minutes or whatever it was. So two decent teams, and like you say, the result, the clean sheet, that kind of thing is probably what 20 are going for. It's rated as a really high game. What was it? It was highly rated for the strikers and the defense. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe it is 20 at home are probably a fixture to kind of back. In that sense, is it a top 7 fixture? Maybe this weekend, maybe in other weekends it wouldn't be in that sense, because we are, low on sort of leagues playing, I guess, overall. So that's something to take into consideration, I guess, when looking at this tab. It is diluted, isn't it, Quinny? That's one thing, we can kind of probably agree upon. There's just not much competition this week in terms of being a better matchup than the next sort of team.
I thought I'd put Copenhagen on screen since they're next, and I've got Jordan Larson starting, so that'll be good fun. But let's scroll down on that page, Harry, because it does get thin quite quickly. I'm not seeing any MLS on this at all. Like
MLS never seems to come on. Well, there's one there. Okay, Columbus Crew's come up, but yeah, it's really strange. I don't know why MLS teams don't seem to come on our radar any sooner than top. What's that, 20? I don't really get it, to be honest. I don't know if like odds are missing on some of them, and sometimes that causes things to, drop down. But yeah, the only team we've got there is Columbus Crew at home to Charlotte, which, I mean, kind of makes sense. But again, where's that Cincy fixture? Let me do a little bit more of a scroll just in case we. Okay, so it's there. It's like top 35, which is crazy to me. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just weird how this sort of plays out.
How can the goalkeeper be -11 against Chicago? That's just so bizarre. At home as well. Chicago away don't score buckets of goals.
No,
They're not putting free goals past goalkeepers on the regular. That's such an odd.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Yeah, it's a weird one. But let me just scroll back up to Copenhagen. But yeah, I mean, River play at home, but I think they play Libertadores, I think, midweek, like the midweek coming up. So that could be maybe a rotational sort of fest. So that a lot of 70%ers, couple of 50s. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a good fixture, but that defense here, like, they're 5th in the league. Like, they're no mugs, but they also have, I think they have Sudamericano in the midweek as well, which is like Europa League, I guess. So I guess it's, not a dead rubber of a game, but you're going to see a lot of rotational sort of, situations. So I wouldn't really touch it. But if you can't help it, then, you can't help it type of thing. Yeah.
I'm with you on that. South American rotation can be a nightmare. For 100%. Sure.
Mets home to Bastia. I believe is that Bastia? Yeah, it is.
Bastia.
Have they got anything on the league, if that makes sense? I know Mets are up there, but I'm not sure how. Let's have a little look. Not sure if there's
Mets are second.
Okay.
And Bastia are 4th. Is this a playoff game potentially? No.
So Mets are 3 points behind top Le Havre. So I guess they can still win the league technically. No.
Maybe. I'm not looking at the table. I'll take your words for it.
Well, they're one. Yeah, they're 69th 69 points, second place. Le Havre 72 points, first place. So I don't know who Le Havre are playing. They are playing Dijon, who are in the relegation zone, but can climb out if things go their way in that sense. So that's an interesting one. Mets will definitely want to go out and sort of win this because they could technically win the league doing so. But Bastia are fourth in the league. I think it's not as if they're playing like a really bad team, but they've got the odds are like 7-1 for Bastia to win. Mets have been decent though in this last sort of couple of months, I guess. They've been scoring a lot of goals, winning a lot of games, hence their position in the league, I guess. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe that is a good fixture to keep an eye on, I guess, in that second division.
The next one that kind of grabbed my eye off that list was just because it's the first MLS one that feels appropriate to bring it into the four. Is Columbus at home to Charlotte. Charlotte famously not that good on the road. And Columbus feels that Zella Ryan is really getting his groove back on. Aidan Morris, I see he's get huge L5 and 15 again back in his life. And with Chicho Hernandez up front, feels like Columbus are doing pretty good again, eh?
They are, yeah. I didn't watch the game midweek, but kept an eye on the scores and stuff. And like you said, Zella Ryan seems to have found his mojo again, and he's back in that sort of 100 capable realm, I guess. And like you said, Aidan Morris, that Yao Yaboa as well has been doing really well. He's been scoring goals, getting assists. Chucho, obviously. Nagby. There's some good players here that score well on the SO5 sort of matrix. And there's an under-23 goalkeeper in goals, which is interesting. So this could be, it is a very good fixture, I think, for Scholten. Sort of clean sheet capable in my eyes.
Yeah. So that should be a pretty good game for SO5 purposes. Maybe some cap mode guys in here in particular, might scream out to you. It just depends how it goes. But, Charlotte shouldn't be written off, very formidable in their first season or so. And guys like Swiderski, Merrim, Branico, Westwood, they can, they can definitely cause some problems. I don't know if a clean sheet's definitely on the cards, but yeah, I think it should be a pretty good game. What was the actual matchup ratings for this? Why was it so highly rated? It's the goalkeeper and the defense.
Clean sheet and mid, yeah. I mean, that kind of makes sense because like Chucho hasn't really been on fire in terms of SO5 scores, and he's kind of the only forward, I believe, listed as a forward in that sense on the game for Columbus, who actually play, and a lot of their mid score really well. Obviously, Morris, Ariel and stuff. So I kind of see how that kind of plays out, but I do think it's still a great fixture for Chucho.
The next MLS one that I seen there was Philly, who are at home to Montreal. Montreal not doing terribly great at the moment, but the Philly team looks pretty strong, doesn't it? Elliott and Glesnes going from strength to strength. Still get guys like Mbaizo and Wagner out wide. Gazdag, Carranza and Ure are a very formidable forward line at the moment. So Montreal are going to have it all to do defensively with no Wanyama.
Yeah, they got Wanyama down at 40% behind Camacho. Camacho went off injured 63rd minute midweek. I'm guessing he's okay because the guy wouldn't have played him in, put him in here. But I haven't seen a lot of contrast between whoever does this MLS lineup sort of thing for Play Sharper, and I don't know if you guys have seen Sorare Deek on Twitter, but he has a very shout out to him as well because he does a lot of work in terms of lineups and stuff on Twitter specifically. And there is a lot of contrast. He has Wanyama down at 80%. So, there's definitely things you want to cross-reference, I guess, because, it's all opinions at the end of the day. Deke doesn't have if we're being honest, no one has a clue, realistically. They just played a midweek as well. So there is that to go into things. But yeah, this is his Twitter account, like Quinny's got up here. And as far as I'm aware, okay, is that... he's updated it, yeah. That's been updated since yesterday, fair enough. So Wanyama is sort of in the taking a backseat, I guess, which is interesting. I'll have to have a little look at that myself. But yeah, so that there's definitely something to keep an eye on. But a great fixture, I think, for Philly. Really good fixture.
Yeah, for sure. And Montreal already looked at their team. Sorry, I'll give that back to your screen.
No, you're fine. I mean, there's a couple of teams around that. Obviously, we've got Bordeaux in here, Monaco at home to Toulouse. There's a couple of interesting matchups, I guess, as well as sort of the MLS guys. USG at home to Bruges. I don't know if that's an unbelievable fixture personally. Obviously in the playoffs and stuff. I don't know if you want to get that up potentially. There's quite a lot of USG sort of fanboys, I guess, around. Ducey says Sorare is way better in my opinion, but the whole MLS is a crapshoot. All the teams played at least 7 games in May. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's fair.
But yeah, USG. Teddy Twema the big sort of talking point, I guess. I think Twema, sorry, he's 50-50 according to Play Sharper. I think he went off injured the game before last, potentially. Yeah.
Jack Hendry's going to play.
Hendry's in, is he? Interesting.
That is interesting for me.
Yeah, that is interesting. Does that give you something to think about, Quinny?
It does, because I noticed earlier this morning, and it's not on matchups, which is maybe a good thing, but I've got a few super rare defenders I'm wrestling against for this game week for like 2 spots. Sviatchenko looks like he's going to play. You know, he's just been finally granted the work permit status and has now been in the squad for 2 games in the Cup and League. And like you say, with the fixture pile up, I was going to take the punt on playing Sviatchenko, thinking like, yeah, he'll probably come in for this one. They've played midweek. He came off the bench and done well. Their guys are dying on their feet. They need reinforcements. He probably comes in, but seeing Hendry there gives me another option for someday. So we'll see how I feel about that. Getting closer to the deadline. But Atalanta versus Monza looks like a pretty good game. I just went to go and look at the table to see what Atalanta have on the line, and it's not really very much. It's the difference between Europa League and Conference League, really. So they just need to make sure they outdo Juventus and Roma to stay ahead of them. I'll put the table on screen. So Atalanta, who we know love to attack, you know, but they're on 61, Roma on 60, Juve with their points deduction on 59. So going into the last game, those 3 teams could juggle around Europa League and Conference League. So on your matchups tab there, we've seen Atalanta being at home to Monza. And Monza, I think, are quite firmly mid-table, going nowhere, doing nothing. And Atalanta have been firmly a Champions League team for the last like 5 or 6 seasons, you know, so they'll feel disappointed not to finish top 4, but they won't want to go Conference League. You've got to think, and being at home with the all-out attack approach that Gasperini's had with them, I think, you know, for maybe the commons or for any cards you've got, Atalanta could be great for goals this week.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at XG 2.29, which is spicy at home, obviously. And quite a bit of firepower as well. So, yeah, no, I can't see how that. Yeah, that's a good fixture in my book for sure. Saint Etienne at home. I mean, they played tonight. I think all the Ligue 2 teams played this evening, as far as I'm aware, or most of them at least. Is that a great fixture? I mean, they've sort of turned their fortunes around big time this season, because they were like bottom of this league a while back. They're currently 10th, nothing to play for. Well, I guess they could finish 6th technically. I don't think that really means too much, but regardless, and they play. Who did I say they play? They play,
Valenciennes.
Valenciennes, yeah, we're 13th. They, I mean, technically could get relegated, Quinny.
Wow.
Technically. Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm being stupid. Well, no, I guess they could. If everyone below them wins somehow, then they could. Definitely. Yeah, okay. Is that good of a fixture for Saint Etienne? I don't know. I really don't think it is.
It's just the forward card, eh? Forward's up at 15. So your striker's expected to reign if you've got a Saint Etienne attacker.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not loving it. Cercle Bruges.
Cercle Bruges, sure.
Yeah. That could be, I mean, I just screams goals to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
The heavy favourites, though. Bookies have them at less than even money.
Yeah, I see.
No, I didn't say Sam reckons. I said Saint Etienne. I didn't mean Saint Etienne. I meant the other team, obviously, in 13.
Yeah, this could be goals galore for sure. I think both teams have got players that interest Sorare scouts and managers all over the world, like Maxime de Kuyper, Brian Reynolds, and Nicholas Madsen. Even in the less favoured Westerlo, there's some talent there. Matsuo as well. But Cercle Bruges, Majeke, I know is a very well rated goalkeeper. Hugo CK, Van den Bruggen, I think he's the guy with the thumbs. That's the only reason I know his name. And then Yassi Ueda leading the line. So yeah, Harry, this could be a good goals one. Is that what the matchups thing reckons for Bruges? No, actually, it's just kind of the mids, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit weird that 57%. Yeah, I mean, we're getting into the territory of like, these matchups are good, but they're not like exceptional in that sense. We're not seeing any like green sort of indications around here for like the win percentage, clean sheet, and 3 goals scored. So, we can't say they're like, killer matchups, but they are, they're definitely reasonable.
What
Argentina's
I'll probably
juniors
do,
at home.
Harry, is
Go on.
let's do Argentinos, right? Like, so I was going to pull them up a second ago, right? And then what we'll do is we'll have a quick glance at Spain because none of them have came up, and there's a bit of drama in Spain, and then we'll probably conclude matchups from there. Unless there's another game or another team, anyone in the live chat, any requests, we'll pull them up basically then after Spain. So we'll do
Yeah.
Argentinos, La Liga, and then requests, and then we'll conclude this kind of section, yeah, and move on to the fun stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Argentinos, I've got their team. They're at home to somebody crap. It looks like the strikers are highly rated when I seen the tab earlier from you, Harry.
Okay.
And it looks like full strength Argentinos team as far as I can tell. Anyway, Gas and Veron up front.
I was just going to say that the goalkeeper situation, that Lanzilotta was the goalkeeper, wasn't he, for a while? And then this, whoever that is, Alexis Martin, has kind of come in and taken over, which is, sort of spooked a lot of, I guess, Argentinian league card holders. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, who they playing? Platinese. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's probably a good fixture, but does Argentinos have midweek? Because if they do, then that they could have a bit. Just a lot of sort of thoughts and stuff going out. For that game, a lot of these South American teams this weekend will have Sudamericano and Libertadores on the midweek. Sorry, so that's something to really keep an eye on. Definitely moving swiftly over to Spain. I think this is where it gets a bit juicy, right?
Yeah, for this weekend, there's definitely at the top and the top and bottom of the table. There's a lot of action. So let me just go and get the table. That's probably the best way of painting the picture. But we've also got Barcelona reigning champions. Atletico Madrid can still catch Real Madrid, and they are quite motivated to do so by all accounts. Sociedad firmly fourth now. That's all done. But then when we look at Osasuna, Athletic Bilbao, Girona, Vallecano, and Sevilla, current Europa League winners. Of course, they're going to the Champions League. They probably don't care as much anymore. But certainly from 10th there to 7th, all 4 of those teams could get into Europe. Osasuna also had a cup final appearance this season, so I'm not too sure the complete implications of that as well. But then at the bottom, we still have Valladolid, Celta Vigo, Almeria, Valencia, Getafe, and Cadiz, all the way up to 13th. All fighting off. And it is kind of like this set of teams against this set of teams when you look at the fixtures. So when we look at it, who do we have? So Bilbao, one of those teams we mentioned, they're away to Real Madrid. But we have Osasuna, who are currently in 7th, playing Girona. We have Sevilla away at Sociedad. Relegation head-to-head, Valladolid at home to Getafe. Celta Vigo are in the mix there as well. They're hosting Barca. And then we've got Betis versus Valencia, and Almeria Espanyol is in the mix down there as well. So I think this is going to be quite a busy set of fixtures. Vallecano away to Mallorca as well. Mallorca don't have anything going on. Mallorca, but traditionally pretty good at home and all the rest of it. So I think La Liga, I don't think there'll be lots of goals, but there's going to be a lot of drama across these games, And for the draft system, if you're playing that, if you've got cards, I would definitely be looking to try and carry the guys that are playing for something rather than nothing. You were chatting about Barca earlier. Let's have a look at their team. Looks pretty full strength for final game of the season. But again, they don't have anything to play for. They get no, I think they maybe did that in the last game, get the cup out and do the celebrations. So they might all be hungover for this game or something, metaphorically, maybe not physically. And Celta Vigo need to get points to make sure they stay in the league next year. So that could be quite exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it definitely could be. None of the sort of, I guess Sociedad's fixture comes up on a decent rating on the matchups tab. Yeah, Sevilla might be a bit hungover from the old Europa League fixture, and being away from home, I guess.
Bray's on at 50-50. He wasn't even in the reckoning when I went to bed last night.
Oh, okay, interesting. Very, very interesting stuff. I don't know. I mean, we're getting into territories now where I'm like, I don't know. I don't really foresee anything like crazy, come into our radar. I mean,
Can you click on
LAFC. Go on.
No, I was going to say click on something, but then I just remembered I've got it as well, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Me.
The LAFC played that Club Leon midweek. They
Yep.
lost 2-1, but I think that was away from home. Well, yeah, clearly, because they're playing them home this time. So that's a big game in that sense. I don't know whether it's a great fixture per se. There's definitely something to keep an eye on. St. Louis at home to Houston. Houston were terrible midweek. I think they lost like 6-2 to Vancouver.
Yep.
So that could be an interesting fixture for the old St. Louis City boys. But yeah, I mean, it gets to like murky water, quite murky, I guess. Below that, Austin at home to Salt Lake. I don't know how incredible that is. New York at home to the Revs. New York haven't won in like 7 games. I don't know. I mean, this is it. Like, there's not that many fixtures this weekend in relation, in sort of comparison, I guess, to previous weekends. So, things are diluted. It's hard to find that much of an edge, I guess. But what we thinking in terms of like where are we playing? Like where are we going to find these Napoli cards? Where are we going to find these PSG cards? Are they going to be? I mean, they're going to be hanging out everywhere. But are we going to predominantly see like a heavy Champ Europe like stack in terms of like where the best cards are played? Or are they going to go over to? Do you think we're going to see like a majority of them in All Star this week?
I think it's going to be so hard to read, mate. I think all the K-League power is going to go in that K-League special weekly. I've put the Kyoto team on screen because somebody in the chat asked for it. Sam Ty's just giving us an update on his ironing, which is lovely. Sorry, I totally swayed me there for a second. But no, I think, mate, I think all the K-League power is going to go in. You'd be mad not to. I think you'd be mad not to have a shot at that division this week. And then I think with like the big European cards that are there, like AC Milan were there against Verona, but they don't have anything to play for. We've looked at Spain. We've looked at the majority of Europe. There's not much jeopardy. There's not much on the line. And as we've seen with maybe Celtic as the example before the Aberdeen match, when the players know there's not much on, and results could go either way really on the day. It really depends on the weather, the ref, who gets booked, who gets subbed. So much stuff that's just inconsequential, but makes a difference to the these fine points of the season where nothing's on the line. So I think it'll be really tough. I think any division it's worth targeting. If it's more like your team this week rather than, I think it's a case of build your team and then where's the best division. If this team hits 500 points, where do I want it? I think it's one of those weeks where you're just like, this is my best team, and then where's the best thing to win? Because I've got just as much chance in All-Star Pro as I do in Under 23 Rare or Champ Pro or this or that. I think they're all probably equally competitive this week, and maybe in not a good way this week, or in a good way, if that makes sense. Not all smasher scores everywhere, is my point.
Yeah, no, I see this being a bit of an anomaly week in a weird way. I don't see there being like crazy scores across the board, just judging off sort of gut feeling in that sense. And I guess, the dilution, I guess, of fixtures in general. And like the ones that are good are like not even that. Like there's like Napoli looks really good, but I'm not like, wow, there's some like incredible fixtures after that, So yeah, I think this could be an interesting week. I think this could be a week where, not so much the underdog week, but I do think we're going to see like less of the 20 stack completely smashed. Sorry, Gaza, or like the, I don't know if we're going to foresee that as much as maybe we would in other weeks, because it's just weird playoff situations and relegation battles and nothing to play for. There's so many of those to like mention within matchups. It just feels a bit weird. So that's maybe where like, the regular season and the summer teams have a bit of it, or like cards for summer teams have an advantage because they're just in season. Like there's nothing like crazy on the line. They're just normal games. We're talking MLS, K-League, Asian leagues, the J leagues and stuff. I think that's maybe where we'll see the higher scores. Maybe, I don't know. This is just a theory of mine, but we'll see. I mean, Jonathan says Champ Asia could be a good play this game week because obviously, like you said, all the K-League cards might sort of shoot off to the K-League special. So does that leave J-League on its own potentially? There's
only 300 entrants in the Asia Pro. That's less than the K-League special weekly. So I think maybe Asia is a sneaky one, by the way, because surely all the K-League power does go there. And then it's just J. And then a lot of J-League guys will end up in under 23 All-Star and cap modes anyway. So yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Asia is the vacuum this week. But I quite like the numbers, the regions anyway, like 390 entrants in Challenger. I know there's not a lot in Challenger, but if you've got the cards. And Champion, it was something quite similar, you know. So Champion Rare Pro, 407 entrants on 50 card payout. That's not too shabby, you know. And even in All Star, being under 5,000 entrants at this point, you know, up to Dedaline, All Star's quite light. You know, there's much less teams out there. It's also the amount of playable goalkeepers has dropped off a cliff in the last week, which is, you know, just the reality of the calendar. But you know, it does feel like this week. I think it's build your best team and then think, what do I want to win? If it hits 500 plus, where do I want it lying?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting.
You have not built any teams yet, I believe, as well. Sorry to jump on you there, but if you want to, once we're done with this wee bit, if you want to go and build your teams, then you tell me when you're ready to do that, and and we'll go for it. But you were going to say something before I interrupted you. Sorry.
I don't know what. Honestly, I don't know what I was going to say. I never know what I'm going to say. No, I don't know. I actually don't know what I was going to say, to be fair.
Here's a nice wee segue point for us from Kyle.
Yeah,
I'm new to Sorare, and I've only spent £50, and it seems very unlikely to win anything without putting a lot more money in. Am I right? Well, it depends what you're trying to win. You're not going to win anything that's like, I don't know, like without sounding ridiculous, you're not going to win like a rare Mbappe or whatever from spending 50 quid, not anytime soon anyway, you know. So it's kind of one of those ones. It's expectations versus what game you're playing, you know. Like if you're playing the game of winning money, 50 quid's not you're not doing it, you know. Sorry,
I think that comes. I was just going to say, like, that kind of comes into like playing within your means and stuff, like, or you know, within a budget. Because like I've got friends who play like, you know, I know Premier League's done now, but like Premier League, you know, the one where you play 1 limited and 4 commons, and then the Pro, which is 4 limiteds, 1 common. And they probably put in 50 quid, let's say. And I know my friends won like say 4 or 5 tier 3s and 4s. Like he's was relatively happy with his sort of win rate in that sense. Like Jonathan says, with £50 you play semi-pro, and then Germ sort of agrees. That's kind of where you've got to be. And unfortunately, if that's, you know, you can't look beyond that with 50 quid. That's just the brutality of it, right?
I think cap 220 is maybe if you've found yourself spending 50 quid like he's done, and maybe he doesn't feel like he's getting anywhere. Cap 220 could be an option. So you can play a common, and you can draft an outfield common. You know, like if you've got a wee crappy goalkeeper, and that can maybe make the difference. If you've not got any real firepower in your roster, you can borrow it from a common. So I think the lower end of the limited places, 50 quid, you'll definitely win cards. And you know, Kyle went on to explain a little bit more so we understand. He just wants to win. He just wants the buzz. He just wants to get in amongst it, like a dog eating beat on the leaderboard. And for that budget, like your semi-pros, your 220s, maybe at a push, if you start accumulating and compounding, you can get to 240.
You could, you could get into 240 if you had like somebody, or like, you know, there is obviously loads of help out there in that sense, but like I wouldn't be confident in like my friend building a 240 team without any help in that sense. Like it's not easy to do if we're being honest. I think that £50 goes further in, like you said, maybe 220, and then sort of below that, I'd say semi-pro is probably where you'd want to be playing. I'd say, you know, get yourself, like someone just said in there, get yourself like not a £50 baller, but like somebody that like you really know who they are, and he goes straight into that sort of semi-pro team. He's your main man, he's your captain, and you've got 4 commons around him, and just watch it. And it's not easy because there's still thousands of players playing. Don't get me wrong, but at least you've got you've got as good a chance as anyone realistically, because you've got that one sort of good limited card as your captain. You just need him to pop off realistically,
like this team,
like when he showed us. Yeah.
Like that team,
100%.
Just need to do one of that.
And like, you know, there's only 4 decisive with the keeper, but like nobody scored 100. You know, your defender scored a 44. Like you haven't blown everyone out of the water there, if we're being honest, but you've just done enough. And that team, you know, that's kind of what you're looking to do with. Beautiful.
And he's
absolutely beautiful.
4 quid, a fiver.
It's 10%. Right. It's 10% of a 50 quid team, isn't it? Effectively.
Yeah.
If you want to look at it that way.
That's the way to attack. We reckon.
Carl said, I checked the data. My Cat 240 team has done some 250s, which would be £5, but this is my first week entering 240. Oh, well, massive good luck
There we
For that,
go.
Charlie Dunn. Yeah, that's progress. I love that. Charlie says, just seen on Twitter, Montreal have a cup final midweek for a spot in the CONCACAF Champions League spot. So major rotation is expected this weekend.
Roger.
Which actually sort of flows nicely into like my sort of lineup building, I guess, because I do have a couple of Montreal players who, yeah, kind of make my life a bit hard now. After that news, what's Joe saying? With the European leaving, play semi-pro and play MLS pro and try to get into the Euro ones with winnings. Yeah, that's probably the best strategy right now. If you had 50 quid right now, I think that's probably where you have to be, right? Play MLS for a bit and kind of sort of recycle those winnings if you do win into a couple of MLS European sort of limiteds for next season.
Yeah, I've put on some great comments on screen as well. Ian's got a great one here as well. Where I'm trying to, with this system that we're streaming on, Harry, it doesn't crash and break on. Is the Sorare scouts, the managers from around the world that are joining the stream, enjoying and engaging, trying to get as much of that on screen. So we do our best, obviously, to directly interact with everything in the chat. But if there's something we just want to get on screen, it'll always be there, guys. So it's, so make sure your contributions are coming in. And on that note, we had a lot of good ones coming in as well. And Sammy Boy is now on ironing the wife's dress. We see who wears the trousers in that relationship, don't we? Sammy's not only ironing his own stuff, but he's ironing the good ladies as well, Mrs. Ties. So have fun at the wedding, buddy. And
or the PS5.
Let us know when your wife's done your training teams for you as well and got your teams picked for the weekend, buddy.
100%. Yeah, no, just sort of segueing into the lineup building that I need to do this weekend. I've got a lot of situations this weekend where I'm not really too happy about. Obviously, Brady's injury, that Montreal situation for a couple of my supers makes things a little bit tough. But yeah, I mean, it all comes down to what do I want to do this weekend, Quinny? Would I be happy if I left the weekend with a cap 240 threshold, or would I be happier if I won something in under 23 Rare Pro, which I've been quite quiet in recently?
Ooh, nice
I can play both. Like I can kind of do both and have good lineups in both, but it's kind of like, well, not good. I can basically play one goalkeeper, and that kind of sort of cements that. But it's like I have it. For example, I have a Santiago Rodriguez super, right? That hasn't really like popped off for me yet. Good fixture at home on paper ish. They need to win, which is obviously pressure or whatever. Like, does this card have to go into cap 240, or can I sort of play it elsewhere, which obviously would be Rare Pro. Ideally, I'd win in both competitions, but that's kind of where my sort of mindset is right now. Wanyama looks to have probably be rotated out this weekend with that that sort of midweek cup final or whatever it is, and he played midweek as well, so like that could be quite a lot of games for anybody, I guess. But there's a couple of definites. My goalkeeper is one of them, and my forward, I only have sort of one playing forward right now who's even 86% himself because he didn't start midweek, but he came off the bench and they kind of ended up going on to win that game. He didn't score anything, but he's started every game realistically before that. I can't really see. He's like 50-50 on Play Sharper, but I think he gets the nod, but regardless, he has to play for me, right? And then he's kind of filling in these last three spots. So midfielders, it's basically Santi, we mentioned Wanyama, and then it's Frankie Amaya who comes into the reckoning for me because he started midweek, Quinny. First time he started in like 2 months back from injury. He's been known to be fit for like a couple of weeks now, but they didn't risk him. Team's been playing well. He played really well midweek. Came off at half time though, so they only gave him 45. He's down at 70 on Sharper. I think Deke had him at like maybe 60. It's a good fixture at home. I might be forced to do it, Quinny, regardless of him starting or not. If I want to play Santi elsewhere, it's kind of what I'm getting at. I basically have to go with Amaya here, don't I? Realistically.
I don't mind playing Amaya to release Santi into a better team. That works for me because your striker is kind of like already, isn't he?
I mean, he either scores or just doesn't. Basically, like he doesn't really have an AA game. He's just a sort of. If you have a look at his scores, he does seem to score goals quite often. But outside of that, he doesn't really do much, which is most threshold forwards realistically. Okay, so let's say if we say Amaya goes in there, then it's a case of I have to pick two defenders realistically because I don't have another forward to pick. My midfielder option is obviously Santi, and we could argue Wanyama. So in here basically goes Cuesta, who is like a really good sort of super rare to have this weekend, I think, not only here, but maybe in under 23 Red Pro. We've got Mabika, we've got Piton. Campbell, obviously, he's down as 97%, but with those rotational worries, that does kind of spook me a little bit. The safest option, and I mean like 1,000,000%, is Cuesta and Piton. But Flamengo are really, really good, albeit Vasco are at home. That's like the safe as houses, Cuesta and Piton. I know I've said that now, I've probably jinxed it, but that's as safe as it gets for those two. I know Amaya and Koraki are kind of the risks there. And obviously Hola J-League could be a risk. So that on paper is the safest team, if I'm being honest. I would love to play Cuesta in under 23 Rare Pro, if I'm being honest. But if I could secure the threshold this week, I'd probably take it,
What about Mabika over Cuesta?
He doesn't fit the cap. He's 4 points over in that sense. So that's the issue there. Doesn't really make. I've got.
I think Piton at 43 is your man in defence.
It probably is, isn't it? At home, I know Flamengo have Libertadores midweek, so there could be potential sort of rotations. They might be weaker, even though a weaker Flamengo is probably still enough to beat this Vasco team who are really struggling. I think I'm kind of forced to do that, aren't I? All at home, Quinny. How do you like the look of that?
I like the look of that, but I'm interested to see what goes with Santi if you keep Cuesta here, because I'm a super rare and pro guy.
Mabika has.
Mabika?
No, I definitely. Yeah, Mabika probably comes in here for me. Who again isn't exactly like 1,000,000% going to play, because they're like main centre back. Or you got Matt Hedges on the right. Mabika's been playing on the left of a 4. And their main guy is like back from injury, but he hasn't like sort of broke back into the side yet. Is this weekend that time for him? Is the issue for me. This would basically be the team I'm going to go with. Definitely going with Vinny at home. And then I think I have to go Ferreira, to be honest, at home to Nashville. I know Nashville are quite decent, but it's basically Turkey. And then that's kind of it. I feel like that's probably my best build, if I'm being honest. 2 forwards, all at home, Mabika. What do you think on that?
I like Cuesta over Mabika, but I know that gets things a bit sticky.
I know. It does make things sticky, doesn't it?
But I don't know. Minnesota aren't really scoring at the moment, so Mabika's solid enough, man, to be honest. I think it is much for muchness.
I'm more worried if he doesn't play. I'm not actually worried about like him not scoring that well, because his scoring recently has actually been really good. I'm more worried about like, is he actually just like in, if that makes sense? Is more my sort of contemplation. I'm just looking in the chat. Jonathan says, why not Leschuk and then Santi and Cuesta with no Piton? Well, Leschuk isn't even like nailed. He's like 60 on Sharp after they lost like 4-2 in the Moscow derby last week. Charlie says Campbell's at 60. Yeah, Campbell is an option. Super rare Campbell, that is. They play away to Philly, though. I don't love that, if I'm being honest.
I've got a shout from somebody in the chat here. I was asking for an MLS player for amateur. I swapped out my Jordan Morris, whose cap was 45 when I brought him in, and I brought in Rui Diaz, whose cap is now at 42. He's returning from injury. He should play against Portland this weekend. If not, he'll come off the bench. You're looking for a 60 out of him. Point being, it's Rui Diaz, and once he's fit and available, he'll be worth more than 40 points. So it's kind of just a good time to get him. You might not win you anything this week, but just something I thought I'd throw back at Rob here in the chat.
Yeah, Charlie says not sure Magno's back. Yeah, he was iffy for midweek, but apparently he trained and stuff.
I've seen that. I'm kind of relying on him from the bench. I'm not holding my breath on that team anyway, as I was saying. But yeah, good catch.
But yeah, Quinny, that's kind of that. And then it would, because there's no Brady, and obviously we don't think Freeze is going to start. I've got a cap 240 rare team. Oh no, I'm not. I'm back. We've got the same goalkeeper. Yeah, I thought I did as well. I've actually got too many good forward options for cap mode this week, if I'm being honest. I've got Kuroki in rare as well, but I'd kind of go against playing him in rare and super just in case if I have the options of Vitinha and Cherky in here. My mids are very low caps as well. Ledesma and Utkin are probably the best best out of a sort of barred bunch. Would you go Ledesma or Utkin here? Utkin's away to CSK. Ledesma feels like the play, doesn't he?
Ledesma's good for it, yeah, at 42.
Yeah.
I think he's long overdue a good score. And he's on to start.
And then defense, I mean, we got Mabika and Campbell in there again. Avila's in there. I think Avila probably has to come in for me, even though he's a 52. I know we've got Dedic up there, but they're away from home. And it's like, I don't know. I kind of worry about it, where Avila, I know he's going to play. And I can afford to go with a 52 there because, well, potentially if I play Vitinha and Cherky, I think that comes in at like almost perfect. How does that kind of look for you, Quinny?
Yeah, I like that. On the defender, I'd have probably taken the other guy, Dedic.
Yeah,
personally.
Dedic, he's
getting a lot of hype, end of season, wee shop window effort, could be a big game for him.
Oh, Dedic is so hit and miss, Quinny. It's unbelievable. Have a look at them.
Could be a hit week, but...
And like Salzburg have been conceding goals as well, which is worrying.
Fair. Okay.
I don't know. I do worry. Like he's just so capable of like just nothing. But then like those two decisives he got was like the first decisive he's got for Salzburg in a long time, since game week 345. Where Villa just does seem to be pretty strong on AA. Like I can kind of all I need out of him is like 15, 16 AA. Like just beat your cap in that sense. I feel like that's the play for me this weekend because I don't have Brady. Like I said, I don't have free. So I'm basically 3 teams in, and that's kind of all I can really do. Let me just have a look at the chat to see if anything. Hendo said that should just sell. Dedic, no, I need him for like European qualifiers and stuff. He comes in nicely for the Nations Leagues for Bosnia. So yeah, he kind of has to go in there for me. Vienna fighting for a European spot. So yeah, Salzburg guys are a bit dodgy. Steven said, is Vinny playing? I'm seeing Vinny playing if I go on my I have a trusty, it's called footballfantasy.com, but it's football spelled FUTBOL. They have Vinny down at 70%, and they're pretty trustworthy. So that would be why I'm trusting that, to be honest. But yeah, Quinn, if you want to show us your lineup, I'm intrigued to see what you've got going on a non-Celtic week this weekend.
Yeah, non-Celtic week that it is indeed. I'm actually... with the Rui Diaz thing, I just remembered I had Heber in a team. I still think he's good for like 40, 50 minutes or something. So I'm just wrestling over whether to actually get him dropped out or not. So I'll come back to that. But I've managed to get a good couple of teams out. I've got a little bit of a different strategy on the go this week. I've got my big 240 team out. So these are all the supers that will play, do play, have something on the go, and maybe they go for it. The only one that's kind of a wee bit rubbish looking maybe is Illich at home to Champions League finalist Inter Milan. But that happens Saturday. Inter Milan have got one eye on the final. It's kind of my thinking. Illich has got some personal good form. So if he can get out that game with a 60 or so, decisive or not, he'll be doing job done for me. The rest of the team, it's all about hitting freshy with this. But like, if the goalkeeper has a great game, if Larsson gets another 70 like last week, and both my midfielders can hit around that 60 mark, then maybe this is a week where it cards as well as getting the threshold. So I just thought I'd kind of put all my safe eggs in the one basket, kind of similar to yourself with the 240. But what that opened up for me, Harry Boy, was a strategy that I've not personally ran in a very long time. And I'm looking forward to seeing how well it does this week. I'm going super rare keeper. And then the Sviatchenko play, I'm happy to talk over, I suppose, because I've got other super rare defender options. But Ladero and Gold in midfield, and then 10% Larsson up front feels like the best combo I can make in All-Star, in anything really. I think Sviatchenko could be on for a big game against St. Louis, who've been very good at home. But I do have other options, and I would maybe be open to swapping them around. Not Maffeo, but I'll keep him in that team because he's nice and safe.
Yeah.
All-Star Rare, it's just, why not? Big XP bonuses on the City collection. And, let's just, with Castellanos and Amundsen in particular, Sante and Keaton in midfield, and then Sean John at Toronto now in goals. So again, I'm not holding my breath on that, but it's All-Star, you never know. 240 is where I've got Heber, and where I was thinking maybe I swap him out for someone else. So TBC on that. But again, I'm just not pure buzzing about any of these players scoring above 60 really, but good 240 effort. And then some of my spare parts are down here on 220. So I've got Juan Iglesias for Getafe, who will play by all accounts. Fullback can get decisives, not just assists and stuff, but he's picked up a goal line clearance and things like that this year already. And also defence, I've got Kufri. Kufri's actually a bit more solid to play now after scoring midweek than what I was thinking coming into the weekend. We've got Hendry, who's on to play away to USG, making that what you will. Kuto is not on to start, but probably features. And that's where I'm at, really, with defence. I've obviously got Sviatchenko, the aforementioned. So I've got like 3 options there that are all kind of the same. And it's just really who I think could punch the best, really. It's between Kufri, Hendry, Sviatchenko, and Iglesias.
I like the Kufri. I don't know if it's confirmation bias after the decisive midweek. But they need to change. Their fortunes need to change at some point, this New York team.
Yeah. So since he's been in MLS, he's not been that bad, really.
No, he's been okay. Yeah. You just got to hope one of those 60 pluses is kind of what comes out, right? Effectively.
Yeah. I'm sure I pressed the wrong button there. But so I'm on Sviatchenko now.
Yeah.
I'm open to suggestion on like Iglesias. I'm quite looking forward to Getafe playing Valladolid, right? But it might be a mad game for bookings and stuff like that. Which makes me cautious on him, because if he gets sent off or he gets a booking or then gives away lots of possession because he's a fullback and they're trying to win the game or something, I think he's 20 capable, Iglesias. Whereas I think Sviatchenko, worst case, maybe comes down with a 40 or something. Hendry, I've only really thought about for the last 24 hours. And then the other option, Kufri. I think Kufri's probably the safest pick, probably starts and probably brings in a high 40s if he doesn't get a decisive, because I don't think he's a big merchant for possession lost. So, yeah, I'm quite open to suggestion from the live chat. Anyone thinks Kufri, Sviatchenko, Iglesias, Hendry, then let it be known. But that's the only real coin toss I've got left, I think, for the weekend, because I've got a few teams out. I'm playing 220 as well. With a limited Barraza on that little strategy, but the pieces I've got left are all just odds and sods. None of them have got really anything on. It's just a throwaway team. Same with 270 and 220 Super, really. So like I've got a few lottery tickets out this week. 240 Super will be the Road to Glory team, so if it wins a card, we'll be giving that away. We've already got an Illich to win and give away, so we'll stack them up, and we'll see how that does. And then I've got my amateur stuff lined out, which is what it is. So I'm quite hopeful for 240. I'm quite hopeful for All-Star Rare Pro. So only really 2 properly competitive teams, really, for me, Harry boy.
Yes, it becomes slim pickings, doesn't it? Like, when your main sort of bulk of your gallery is. So I've got the cat bugging me right now. If the main bulk of your galleries week in, week out is Celtic base and stuff, and that's kind of where you're winning cards from. I think the other half of your gallery is just like a bonus if they win in like midweek. You had a really good win, or will have a really good win in that 30th place in All-Star Rare Pro. It's just kind of trying to emulate those type of wins, isn't it? For you, I would say, really, like if you're in and around that type of area every weekend, in that sense, with the MLS boys and whoever else you've got left over, you've just got to be. I think you've got to be like quite happy with that just ticking over. Would you agree?
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely happy for everything that wins. And from this midweek as well, a very similar team. I've actually finished, maybe even mentioned it right at the top of the show. I don't know if this was before we actually came on, but I've got a wee tier 2 to pick up today, which will be good fun. And that is from a very non-Celtic, very other side of the coin team, Kufri, the aforementioned, and Gigi. Obviously, he doesn't have a game this weekend, so that's why there needs to be a wee shuffling of the pack. But so yeah, really happy. Lots of bonuses when this stuff does come in and does land, and it does feel a little bit pressure off for FC Barcelona in that respect, if you get me. But when I've got that Skorupski super rare, who's probably getting a clean sheet against Lecce, and then these 2 powerhouse midfielders, I think this team again could do really well if I can nail down that super rare defender spot. And for anyone not watching, just listening, I've opted for Kufri now. Because it does feel like, as I'm looking at it and saying it all out loud, I think he should be the front runner. But again, anyone wants to make a case for Sviatchenko, Iglesias, or Hendry, feel free to let it be known in the live chat with us, Harry boy. But yeah, I'm quite hopeful. I would like to get myself the $200 threshold again and a card out of 240, because I just think last game of the season for the Europeans I've got here, if they could pull out a wee cheeky 200 quid and a tier 3 super would be nice. You know, if I could get into the top 15, I'd be quite chuffed with that. And then it's just going to be these rares, and then that limited Baraza. And I've also got limited freeze, so I've got the handcuffs sorted at limited level for that little strategy to maybe do something and have some fun. But the first thing that gets set this week, Harry, was my academy teams, was just get all these guys training pronto, get them all in training. I want them triple training. I want them doing everything and anything they possibly can, and running out there. So that was a bit of an odd change of pace for me to go and get the training done so quickly. Normally it's the last thing I'm doing.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's definitely a strategy being deployed. I saw Stish mention it last week on the podcast. Just like, you know, he's looking forward to picking up those $5 thresholds or $5 payouts in the academy and stuff. And that's sometimes, I mean, I guess that's not the exact strategy that you're going for. Obviously, most of us, like yourself, will be going for the XP and stuff that's offered there, or double XP. But yeah, no, it's exciting times. Like you said, I feel like this stream has been less intense than usual, in the sense that like there's just less fixtures to really talk about in that sense. We have international break coming up soon. I don't know. It's a weird one. Like it feels like not like a free hit, but it just feels a bit odd in a good way in that sense.
Yeah, it feels like it's a weird one. It also depends on your POV. We've got Joe Ducey and a bunch of other guys in the live chat today who are firmly MLS-centric, America-centric, Asian-centric as well. We'll mention them galleries. So it feels like for them, this is the business part of the year, but for us, it's the opposite end of the coin. It's like, this is the fun time. And it's like, oh, that guy didn't play. Oh, damn it. Sviatchenko didn't start and stuff, you know. So it is a wee 100%. Bit of, I think, internal perspective as well.
Yeah, and I look back on last summer where I did actually, that was like my first summer on Sorare, technically, of being like an actual player, like knowing what I'm doing, quote unquote, and kind of having a strategy. And I had a really successful summer. Like I did. Looking back, I had like a couple of like D2 under 23 wins, which I don't even think I don't have an under 23 summer goalkeeper anymore in Tanny, so I'm not even able to play there. My sort of focus has had to be on the Super Rare threshold this summer. Like that's the difference for me this summer. Last year was, can I go compete in under 23 Super Rare? And I proved to myself I could. I came first, I came third, and that was kind of the best of that sort of 2-month period I could get out of it, which I was happy with. And then it was like, and then this year it was a bit like, okay, well, they have this Super Rare threshold out now. Is there much point in me trying to, you know, sort of prove myself again in under 23 Super Rare, or should I just play it safer and go win a threshold every week, and a Super Rare threshold at that? I think that's probably, for me in my head, the better option, because that allows me then to rebuild for the European season, hopefully have a decent little ETH balance if I can stop myself spunking it. Going into the European season. So it's been interesting for me this year. It's like this summer, I've had to sort of broaden my horizons in that sense, and kind of look outside of the under 23 realm more so than I would have ever before, because of the super threshold on offer personally.
Got a question here, Harry Boy. Do I captain Berardi or Zelarayan? Now, Berardi seems to look at L5.
I know he's on fire, isn't he? Yeah. Who are they playing though, Sassuolo?
Let me go and check, buddy. I think they've got a good game because I've put him in my commons. They're at home to Fiorentina tonight. Fiorentina at the moment are
Friday curse, Quinny. It's the Friday curse.
They're not in the mix for anything, Fiorentina, you know. So it's one of those ones. Sassuolo themselves, again, not really in the mix for anything. But they're at home Friday night. Yeah, Friday night curse might
seems okay.
There, but
I still prefer the Zelarayan fixture. Let's be honest. At home to,
of course,
at home to Charlotte. I mean, and it's not the Friday curse, capable. Fair. If that makes sense. That's funny now. Now, Friday curse capable is now a saying, Quinny, on the stream.
That's it. It's definitely
a lot of players are Friday curse capable.
Definitely.
Charlotte to right now, Daniel says. Ducey says Zelarayan, they could smash, and he's always involved. Jack says Fiorentina have eyes on West Ham, which is a good point.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
It is a good point. But it doesn't sway me enough personally outside of the Zelarayan shout, if I'm being completely honest. Papi Cisse. Is that the Papi Cisse that played for Newcastle? There's no way.
Yeah, he's like he's got League 2 cards. Have you not seen them?
Wow.
He scores goals.
No. I don't disbelieve it, Quinny, because that guy was put on this earth to do one thing, and that was score goals. Where's he
Nice.
to? There he is, 37 years old. Papi Cisse. Wow, I love it. £1.50 for a limited if you fancy it. Somebody bought a super yesterday, Quinny, for £66,
Not
which
bad for
seems
a game
pretty
week.
good. Yeah, seems pretty
For one
good to
game
me.
week only. Not bad.
Yeah, The Last Dance.
I had that same kind of thoughts because I've got maybe a bit of a segue into a topic or whatever, Harry. But
Go on.
Dundee United have been relegated, of course. And for any of you
Yeah,
that know, I have two Dundee United cards. One is Super Rare Tony Watt, which I'll hang on to, first owner. That's all good. But the other one
yeah,
is Unique Mulgrew, who's also really, really old already. And this was a guy that I bought. And similar to a few other guys, Harry, when I've bought the older guys, like guys that are like Celtic X's, like Key and Wanyama and Mulgrew, I'm kind of buying them. And I've seen at the time, I'm probably going to take this guy until he retires. And there was a lot of speculation that he might have retired at the end of the season. Then kind of looked like he would be staying on. I think he probably will stay on and play, but now they've been relegated. And I was looking at this guy the other day and I'm like, oh man, should I even have bothered getting this guy in? Like, I had him for like a season and a bit. If you look at his scores, I don't know when I even picked him up. I don't even know if I caught that 97 in a game week or not, but I know I played him for some spells here and there. And I looked at the rewards and he won me 2 cards. So I'll
Okay.
throw this out there and I'll let you see what you guys think. But he helped me win this Lassa Sean. And I've not looked this far, right? So I don't even know what I've done now. What did I do with Lassa Sean? I sold him to Pat de Glory for 0.136. Okay, so that was something. And, oh, sugar. I had it onto this tab, sorry. So I sold him for that much, as you can see there. And the Pedrinho, the other card that he helped me win, because this would be playing Challenger D2 because he was a unique defender, along with some Celtic cards and stuff. He didn't do anything for me either. Lassa Sean, actually, I don't know if he did maybe play for me. And then I traded this guy to Aurelius, and this was the trade that got me John McGinn, which was
Okay.
kind of, and I got that unique Cabrera, which was then used in another trade somewhere else. What else went in this? Gio Reyna, a very old Barraza, and a Balanquisha. So yeah, I suppose he maybe helped me get McGinn in, which is quite important. I want to go and check that last of Sean and see if he done anything for me SO5 wise.
I think you sold him straight away. Yeah.
Yeah, that's feeling quite quick. I think I did play him for a week or two, but to be honest,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I got him on the 21st of February and sold him 10th of March. So yeah, I tried to play him once or twice, but it didn't. Nothing came off. So what do you think about that? Buying an old ass guy, right? And how did I get Mulgrew? I think I traded Werner for him. Yeah, trade. I think I just traded Timo Werner. Yeah, just traded Timo Werner, straight swap. So also I don't have a Timo Werner anymore. I would actually quite like to have one back in. So what do you think about this, Harry? Mulgrew, should I have done it? Should I have bothered? Was it a good? Was that a bad?
I mean, it's one of. I think
So
you
we've
should
done
have
it, isn't
bothered.
it?
I think the upside was there. I'm not saying like what he's won you. It's okay, isn't it? And it's led to the McGinn. Like I don't look at that and be like, wow, you've effed up there big time. Like I don't look at that in any way. Shape. Do I look at it and go, wow, like you've killed that? Probably not. I think it's just, it's a bit meh, isn't it? It was
Yeah,
probably worth it at the time because you had a season full of, or whenever, half a season, whatever, of a unique in sort of challenger and whatever, and the league very well. I think it made sense at the time, and I think looking back, it makes sense. But did
basically a
you
year
win
ago I got
enough?
him.
Yeah, did
Had
you
a
win
season.
enough? Maybe not. But was he there? Like, was he meant to win you a ton? Probably not, if that makes sense. Like he would have been perfect for the threshold, if we're
Yeah,
being honest. Realistically, like with those scores, your 50s, couple of 70s, 60s. I think that's kind of where that card should have been played. But at the time, obviously, it wasn't even out. So that wasn't even in the thought process of yourself, which is, we can't knock you for that. But he would have been a nice card to slot in there, I
yeah.
don't think he stands out as like a one-off card in All-Star Rare Pro or Gas 2, Challenger 2. Like he just doesn't seem to. He's just not punchy enough. I don't think there is some peaks, but not in that last year as we see here. There's 72 high.
Yeah.
Is that enough to you know what I'm saying? That card looks like a perfect sort of threshold card to me.
Yeah. And now he's probably a red ex-retirement. I'll need to stick him in
Do you
the
think he's
sticker
done?
book
Yeah.
now. He's got
Yeah,
a
I
1-year
think.
contract left. He's a player coach. I think
Okay.
I'm hanging on to it for the sole hope that maybe Dundee United can't keep his wages and he gets the same gig he's had at Dundee United in Kilmarnock
Somewhere
or
else. Yeah.
Livingston or some shit like that. So I'm hanging on to a little bit of faith, but it's very little, borderline nothing. But I had half of this thought the other day. I remember we were talking just now. I thought I would throw that out there to see what you and the people in the chat thought.
Yeah.
Thoughts coming in the chat. We've got Sorare Josh saying, yeah, it would have been one podium to wash its face. It was a worthwhile thing, potentially. And then somebody else said something else. But we've also got a good one here. Do you think Rangers will come on to the SPL this year? I'm not too sure, mate. This will be the third season of SPL cards. There's not been any like links, rumors, murmurs, anything. So it's a really odd one with Rangers, and knowing them like directly, like outside of Sorare, like they are a basket case, like of organizationally, like, you know, in terms of, you know, board members and high ranking staff members and such, you know. So I firmly believe at this point, or I would not at all be surprised, is probably the best way of putting it, if whoever is responsible for doing this stuff with Sorare hasn't even opened the email, or probably the Sorare emails are in the spam folder or something, you know, and they're just, I think it will be, I don't even think they know they're missing out on anything, because I think Rangers and Celtic will not want to see one of them get any revenue that the other one could get and should be getting likewise. And how much revenue they get from Sorare, who knows, right? But I'll tell you this for a fact, it is more than zero. And as soon as it's more than zero, you know, they're both going to be interested in wanting their cut on it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a really weird one, mate. And you'd have thought by now, they would have said, hold on a minute, Celtic pulled in £500,000 last year on Sorare cards, or bloody whatever it is, I don't know. We want our piece on it. And even Aberdeen, and like, you know, there's some Scottish card. You know, I can't wait to see some Scottish club, because Celtic announce like every year, because Celtic's a PLC, they're on the stock market and that. So every year they announce their accounts. So if you want, you could probably go into Celtic's accounts and see how much money Sorare paid them. But there must be other Scottish clubs that work that way, I think. And I would love to see like Dundee United, right? Just because we were speaking about them earlier. But imagine you seen on Dundee United's books that their largest external revenue source was Sorare Limited or something, you know, or Super Rares of Turnbull or whatever it might be, you know. So to answer that, mate, I really have not got a clue at this point, because you'd think they'd have been on to it by now.
Yeah, but then I also think, do they want to keep missing out on this this more than zero revenue? Do you get what I'm saying? I don't know, but they've been missing out on it already. So I don't know. It's a weird one. I don't know what would prompt them to want to like dive in now after not diving in for the last, like you said, 3 seasons technically. But wasn't it something contractually last, like for at the start, in terms of like why they couldn't go on?
Yeah, they had so there was this other company called Sportemon, just the way you would say
Okay.
Pokemon. And it
Yeah.
was a rug pool NFT project, and they signed an exclusivity deal with them or something.
Okay.
So like when the SPL and like, initial negotiations and all that happened, they get removed from the equation. And that's why, because I think now, because of that, probably they need to be brought into the fold. And that's why I can just imagine this guy at Ibrox is just not even opening the emails, or doesn't even know the emails, or maybe the last guy didn't open emails and a new guy's in now and he's not got the same computer, and blah, blah, some stupid thing like that. And it's just, you know, that's what I think anyway. It could be something as comical as that, let's say.
100%.
Rather than it be like some other stuff, it's like, oh, will they get the Premier League license? And that's like a thing, that's a discussion. But I think like Rangers, it is just like incompetence on Rangers' behalf, to be quite honest, you know.
Yeah.
More than most.
100%.
And then we've got one here, Joe Hart for Celtic next year. I'm not too sure, mate, to be honest with you. I think a lot depends on what we see come out from the manager and the club over the next couple of days. I think if we keep the manager, and you know, the rumours that are going around, we had Dermot Desmond, one of the richest men in the UK and all that jazz, the guy who owns Celtic. He was in Celtic Park meeting Ange Postecoglou the other week there. And the rumours that came out after that, even before the Spurs stuff, was Ange's got a 3-year contract on the table, and we're going to spend, this would be gross before we sell anyone, but we're going to spend 32 mil this summer. So if we're going to spend 32 mil and give him a new contract, I think Joe Hart's position could be up in the air potentially. But I think if the manager changes with how much of a leader Joe Hart is in the club and whatever, maybe you put the goalkeeper replacement, down the road until the January window or something. So hard to say.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. Yeah. Oh, I think I have an offer, Quinny.
Oh, Harry Boy's trading. You got to put it on the screen for us.
Yeah, why not?
We are half an hour away to the deadline. Me and Harry have got teams locked and loaded and ready to rock, guys. If there's any more teams you want to see on Play Sharper or anything like that, let it be known in the comments section. But yeah, we're buckled in and ready to go. And Harry Boy has got someone trying to pick his pocket for a threshold right at the deadline.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I paid 0.62 for him. I've got him up for 0.99. I mean, I'd like to sell him for 0.99, obviously. As in, like, I would be happy if I sold him for like an ETH. I could probably die quite happy in that sense. In this, like, I bought him for 0.62. There's like 4 thresholds in there, realistically, of profit. Am I going to do 4 thresholds over the summer? Maybe. You'd like to think so, but you never know. Like, that's kind of where my head's at in that sense. Yeah, I have Leszczuk. He might. Who knows? Leszczuk might. Like, I've fallen into that Leszczuk situation where he might even start this weekend. So if I could get rid of this the Nishikawa card for like an ETH or just under, I'd probably take. Like, I'd be happy-ish if that makes sense. It does make summer thresholding realistically very tough. But I would have cashed in on a decent bit of profit in that sense. Yeah, below that, somebody offered me a unique earlier. I didn't have it on screen or anything. But guy plays. I mean, he's K-League, but he got decent scores.
It's okay.
Yeah, and then a bit of ETH, but obviously I'm not really in the shop window for that. I think I'm just going to should I reject it straight up or counter him what I want? Because I think reject feels like, wow, like this guy wants 0.99 type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
He's listed for 0.99, then I reject.
Yeah. We'll reject and see if he comes back or if he just buys it. Jack Doyle says more like Harry doesn't trade. Charlie says, do I have a replacement? No, I don't really, but I think I could live with myself not having a super rare threshold team this summer because I have him in rare. So I would have a rare threshold team ongoing, and then I'd have my under 23 rare pro kind of like, chugging away as well. Germ says counter for 105. That would be funny. Can you even do that? Surely you can. You actually?
Yeah.
You can you? That's funny. That's really funny. So yeah,
that would be a good one. Because then the guy would have to check it, but like, how much is this listed for again?
I didn't even know that was possible, but that is really funny. Really, really funny. So yeah, we'll see if he comes back.
Then maybe a wee bit of psychology kicks in, because then if you did do that, maybe Harry thinks he's listed this guy for 1.9. I better just go buy it before he realizes.
Yeah, maybe it's a bargain. Maybe it is a bargain. Yeah, I think I would actually be okay with that in a weird way if it did go. Because I could just play my threshold rare team and just kind of be okay with it. Potentially have a threshold team for this weekend if Leszczuk plays super rare wise. Make the list look like a bargain. That's really funny. Mark Bennett's just joined us. What's going on, mate? Thank you for joining us. But yeah.
Where are you going to be? So I was going to ask you a stupid question. Sorry, Harry. Because I was just thinking again about the K-League thing, and I was just thinking about if there was any alternates kind of stuff over the summer you'd be thinking about. But we've kind of spoke about that with the goalkeeper to an extent, I guess.
Yeah, just thresholding and under 23, and for me this week, this summer, I do have a couple of boys back this next week, I guess. So my Brian Aguirre, was playing for under 20 Argentina, who got knocked out yesterday the day before by Nigeria. So he's back with Newell's All Boys, and my boy Sebastian Gonzalez, Quinny, the Ecuadorian. He scored yesterday in the World Cup under 20 tournament.
Oh, fantastic!
they lost 3-2 to South Korea, in the round of 16. So Argentina and Ecuador are both out. They got knocked out by Nigeria and South Korea, which is kind of crazy, I think. But anything can happen, I guess, in under whatever tournaments. England were out before the round of 16, I believe, or maybe round of 16 as well. So yeah, quite a few upsets there for sure. Ugo says Italy are going to win it. Mike says Lestrick usually plays last game of the season. I think he got his chance earlier this season. Well, apparently, Mike, Lestrick has been playing the last couple of games, to be fair to him. So yeah, who knows? Who knows?
The Russian stuff always throws me off at this time of year because it's such
weird, isn't it?
It's an odd calendar. We've not had cards sold or rewarded in like a year and a half.
Forever,
at this point.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So like Russia's this weird kind of like shadow, you know, on the game week where it's not a shadow like it casts, but it's like in the shadow. You know, it's like you always kind of forget about
Zenit.
it.
Especially now with all the Brazilian Zenit boys are out, or they're all partying, I guess, for the summer. So, yeah, it's just again diluted. Like everything just seems diluted this weekend. Even the stream itself feels less bunchy and compact, I guess, doesn't it? Which is not a bad thing. Sometimes you need this.
Normally we get to 2 hours and we're like, Jesus, man, can you keep going? But we're at an hour 40 at the moment, and we've looked at prize pools, we've built the teams, we've done the main matchups, and we're getting into some just general strategy chat now, you know, as we wind in towards the deadline itself. I was way checking the listings and the schedules to see if we had a looking up with Laird fall on the show, which we won't. That doesn't look like so it was just a
Sam yesterday.
A wee look ahead. Oh, so that'll be on later today, so that'll be good crack.
Oh no, sorry, I meant like we spoke.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Sam didn't fancy. Well, it wasn't just Sam. Like it just as a two, I guess. Both of us, like he feels a bit more comfortable when like transfers are really heating up in that sense across Europe. He prefers not to like dabble in the sort of
before the
dark cards. No, even just summer cards. Like he's not really, because like he just says he doesn't really. He doesn't know too much about it, but he just doesn't feel comfortable or as comfortable speaking about the sort of summer cards that are on offer, and looking up as much as European transfer guys. What does Rob say there? I think we will get a full Super Championship clubs. I don't know, especially after like the whole Div 2, like, you know, how we have the most Division 2 sort of clubs in Europe, the top 5 leagues and whatever, apart from the champ. And people are a bit like there's some good situations. The Cat's doing
24 clubs in that division. Imagine we did get.
It's a lot. It's a lot of cards, man. I just don't know if the platform needs it realistically. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the first thing that sprung to my mind initially is we do have the 3 relegated Premier League teams and Serie A teams, etc. So, like, inevitably there is going to be the promoted teams that will get new season issues, you know, that move into La Liga, Bundesliga, and whatever. Anyway, so I know that's not really the answer to Rob's question. I think it would be strange for the Championship as a division not to be in negotiations with Sorare at this point, considering, you know, the ecosystem in general, the tie-in Ultimate Champions have with League One and stuff like that, as well as the deals Sorare already have in place with a few standalone clubs in the Championship, as well as, like we're just mentioning there, the relegation and promotion element that cycles around this, where there's that going to be that cross-pollination on the go anyway. So it's one where I do think we really don't need the cards. We really don't need another 20 teams coming on overnight for Division 2 in particular. But like, again, the first thing I check myself with, Harry, when I think that is one of the great things I love about the situation of the market at the moment is really how achievable rare goalkeepers are for a lot of people. And I think that's one of the main things that we always want to be. You know, rare keepers should be worth money, but you don't want them worth, you know, 5x a striker or something like that, you know, like kind of vibes. So that's the only positive that I always see coming with onboarding as we've had it to this point. But it feels like having full La Liga 2, full Bundesliga 2, if you throw in the full English Championship on top of that, in terms of card volume, card count, card availability, variety, everything else in between, it might just be a bit much.
Yeah, it might be. Mikey has a good point there. Not sure the Championship can do a deal itself as part of the Football League, obviously, and would maybe need to include League 1, League 2, and UC obviously have individual deals with Football League clubs. So yeah, maybe it does become sticky, and that's kind of why we've probably not seen it, and maybe never see it, but, you know, sort of short term never see it. And I don't think anyone can be that disappointed in that, to be honest. Like there is good sort of situations to be had with some of these championship clubs. Obviously, Burnley was licensed last year. They had a great year. Coventry had a really good year as well. Obviously, getting to the playoff final and stuff, and being, I think, like for clean sheets, they were like crazy good last year. And obviously, you get to play midweek as well, which is obviously big when European teams are playing in Europe and obviously having to compete like that. What's that? Fnatic says Leicester and Co get a new season cards. I don't see how that would work.
It's a very interesting element, but because if you get a relegated card with 5% on it,
well, that's and
it goes down a division and becomes a boss, and then you run it for next year.
That's what I've tried to do with the Southampton boys. Like obviously, I've got the Bazanu, obviously the rare card or whatever. There's only 41 of them. Whether more get minted now until the end of the season, and beyond that, who knows? He's probably going to keep his 5%. I imagine, unless Southampton obviously, or unless championship cards get new cards. So yeah, there is definitely that element of it. I've got a Leeds player as well, Sam Greenwood, who potentially, obviously plays in the champ, let's say, another 5%, hopefully, if Leeds don't get new cards. So yeah, there is that element to it. I think you've seen an uptick on auctions in general anyway for prices, but also a lot of these relegated cards are being auctioned. I think that plays into the psychology of it as well, because they will, like you said, probably keep their bonuses.
Yeah.
Dan says, for the sake of Cov cards, I'm glad we didn't get promoted, but I'll still cry every day until the new season starts. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one too. I've been there. Cardiff lost in the playoff final against Blackpool. I was there as a kid. It hurt. But yeah, where are we now? We're 14 minutes out. Still no offer, Quinny, on the Nishikawa.
Oofed.
Yeah, I'm just looking in the guy's gallery. He does have another super rare J-League goalkeeper. He has, is this Sugano? Don't know. I'll see if I can find it. But he does have another one. But it doesn't really. Yeah, Sugano, is it?
Yeah.
Takanori Sugano. So yeah, I mean, hasn't really been scoring too well. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the next sort of 10 minutes. I'll start doing my teams a couple of minutes before the deadline.
Just to make sure. There's a bit of drama today.
Yeah, why not? It feels like we need a bit of drama, if I'm being honest. In a weird way. Any late changes into your team?
The only thing I had that on the chopping board still was Hebert, just because he's more than likely going to be a sub now. But again, he's a 30 or a 60 guy anyway at the best of times. But
can anyone else come in realistically for him, or?
Yeah, I should have some. Johnny Russell isn't on to play, so I don't have him. Everyone else is kind of in teams. Magno, we know, is suspicious anyway, so I wouldn't pull him into this. We've got Pablo Mari, who's playing Atalanta. No, thank you. We've then got Ferran in a throwaway team. Acevedo isn't on to start, but he might start. Hebert, obviously, who we've mentioned. Soler, not on to start. Maxi Morales, not on to start. Sviatchenko is probably the best shout, to be honest with you, out of this bunch. So it's Sviatchenko or Hebert, probably. I think I'd probably take Sviatchenko over Hebert. But I do like a goal scorer in a derby, which is what Hebert is. He's a striker. It's Seattle at home at Portland in the Cascadia Cup. So even if he does come off the bench, he could just be taking a wee tap in for me or something. But yeah, it's not going to be a resounding one-way result, I suppose. I'm also saying to myself now. So maybe we put Sviatchenko in. And then we've got some Sviatchenko exposure this game week. I think he plays. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't really know too much about him. Was he the Houston player?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Got a last man tackle last game. Okay.
Yeah, off the bench, and he got a goal line clearance in the Open Cup, which hasn't scored obviously, but he played 45 or something, 45 or 60.
So he's a new signing, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's a risk, obviously, but everything's a risk, I guess, in some capacity.
So that's the last change for me, I think.
You kind of know Hebert's going to get a minute, don't you? Realistically.
Yeah, I think Sviatchenko gets a minute too. European centre back they've brought in. Yeah, I mean, he's not. MLS is like, mate, you've got to play your best guys. It goes without question. Jack Peterson's got a good one here. He's off to Wembley.
Wembley. Wow.
And then Istanbul. Wow, well, Joe. Double Man City Cup final action.
Wow. That's insane, Jack. Have a wicked time, mate. I'll be unreal.
Yeah, travel safe, stay out of trouble, and have a lot of fun, mate. Mikey Basson saying as well, he's noticed that Sorare have put the red X's on the Dundee United cards, etc. So that's out there if you're going to try and Pavel them off. And looking for food, saying he felt the same as you and Rob did about Coventry and Cardiff with Millwall. So and Millwall signed Kevin Nisbet, by the way. That seems like a done deal. So there's going to be a power forward play of Zihan Fleming and Kevin Nisbet in the Championship this year. If you're after some ultimate utility, I've just seen you doing some teams, Harry, so I'll pop that on screen. But
yeah, I'm just going to start filling in a couple of them for now. Just in case
go to Istanbul as well.
That'd be class. That will be class. Vinny's on 12.5% right now, Quinny, which is nice to see.
That's juicy, mate. How quickly will it take us to get used to seeing all these big percents on rares, do you think?
I mean, it's going to, well, as soon as somebody with like as soon as somebody scores like stupidly high, you know what I'm saying? We see on Twitter and like, it's just a thing. Everyone's just going to be like blown out of the water. We're like, you know, maybe this weekend, let's just say that St. Louis FC stack of, you know, Andy Black on Sorare. If they smash this weekend, and I think he has like 5% on all of his players, and I think he smashed like 2 or 3 weeks ago before it came in, I believe, but it was before. Like we're seeing like crazy jumps in this, in those scores, to where like it could just be astronomical, couldn't it, for some stacks? Of course, you don't need to play the whole. You wouldn't need to play all 5 St. Louis cards to get the 5%, if that makes sense. But I think he probably would this weekend, being at home and whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I think as soon as somebody scores stupidly high with like a crazy stack, everyone's 5%ed out. There's like 20% on a rail, whatever it is. I think that's when we'll be like, wow, this is serious. Like this is where we probably need to take collecting, you know, even more serious than we are already. So yeah, how do you see it?
I'm kind of there with you as well. Like, I don't know, but it depends on the collection. It depends on the cards, because NYC, now for me personally, are obviously a right pain in the ass. So I'm kind of waiting on them recovering. But I've got 3 guys that have got the season bonus still from last year. 4 guys, or maybe even 5 or something, because they've transferred. So I've got like Castellanos up at 17%. I've got Acevedo and Maxi Morales up at 15%. And there's 1 or 2 other ones. Heber's not good anymore. Amundsen. Anyway, but I'm hoping to see 1 or 2 of them get right close to that 20% mark over the summer. And when you see guys like that, I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing maybe some of these guys drop in a 65 with that multiplier attached to it, because then that's a real difference maker on the score.
Yeah, 100%. I can throw out a little cheeky Liga semi-pro team, actually, which I will be doing. Is Danny Parejo alive?
Oh, he missed the last game. No, he missed a game through suspension, and he's been back. Sorry, I'm a week behind in my brain there. He's back in town.
We'll get him in. Why not? Suso came on and changed the game, by the way, that Europa League final.
What did you make of the Europa League final?
I didn't. I'll be honest. Obviously, I was over here, so I missed a bit of it. I only watched extra time, and pens, which there wasn't much to watch, was there, if we're being honest, in terms of football being played. It felt stretched out in that sense. I don't know. I just think, I didn't watch the full 90 minutes. I can't really say too much about how that went. But yeah, it was a weird sort of ending to a game as well. The final penalty got brought back, didn't it? Montiel took it again. I don't know. It all felt a bit weird. Did you see the ref? Was it Andy someone?
Anthony Taylor. I watched the majority of the game. I turned it on about half an hour in the first half, 20 minutes or something. And it just felt, mate, like a Europa League final with Sevilla in it. Even though they've won all these cups, mate, all the finals they've been in have been rubbish to watch, really. A few of them have had a wee bit of drama, but Sevilla just, and it was Jose Mourinho versus Sevilla. It was such a, like, looking at the card count, there could have been a few more. But it wasn't that great of a game, to be honest with you. But I've seen most of it, and I'd like to have seen Roma win it. I like Jose, as you know, But I was also saying, like, it's a wee bit of karma of the referee stuff because, and again, it might sound like sour grapes, but if you haven't watched like extended highlights, which I don't suppose many have, of the UEFA Cup final, Celtic versus Porto, we were cheated blind constantly, man. We get a guy sent off and all sorts of crazy stuff happened. That was Mourinho's like debut onto the world stage, that UEFA Cup win, you know.
Yeah.
So we bit of karma. You know, I'd like Celtic to give him back the karma for that personally, because that was probably the low of my footballing life. You know, is that loss in Seville.
Yeah.
So it was a weird final in that respect. The football wasn't that great, but the drama, the history, the sauce was all there.
Yeah, it was a weird one. I think Mourinho could have been the most decorated manager in European history. Is that right? If he would have won, I'm pretty sure
Really?
it was something like, yeah, like 7 trophies or something in Europe. I think something like that. Maybe someone in the chat can.
Different teams and all that stuff would have been huge.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah, something crazy like that. But yeah, disappointing, obviously for him and his players and stuff. But I thought it was crazy with the pens. Like it was all centre backs taking penalties for the first like 6 pens. It was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the guys, being served like Pellegrini and Dybala or whatever, but I don't know. It still felt a bit crazy. Mickey
The
said
penalties
hated
were
seeing
wild.
Anthony Taylor. Yeah, it was. It was a shock. I was there. He was 6-6 for finals before the game. Jack Doyle says that's crazy. That is nuts.
Yeah, he was raging. He was in the car park. So Anthony Taylor, it was a handball penalty for Roma. He didn't give it. VAR told him to go and look at it. He then kind of went, but then didn't really look at it, and then kept his decision for no handball, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it was one of those ones where Mourinho was just feeling like utterly done out and cheated, kind of thing. Which you can understand, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. Do I throw out a cheeky, unique kickoff team just for the so-coins, potentially?
Oh, why not, mate? Oh, why not?
Why not? The unique won't play, but the supers kind of will chip in and probably do something. So why not?
Get some coins on you.
Yeah. Why not? We'll go. Okay. So my cards are off the market, Quinny. That guy can no longer instant buy my goalkeeper. He would have to send me an offer.
Aye, I think that was probably his only attempt before the game week. Just
Yeah, tested the waters, didn't he? He tested the waters. Okay, let's do some. Did you see the tackle on Balde last week?
On Balde?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, your guy. Oh, I did, mate. Yeah.
Snapped his
Cruncher.
leg. Yeah. He'll be back for preseason, so it's kind of okay actually. But yeah, it could have been rough from what it initially looked like. Just doing some.
Get those academy entries in.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, where's all? That's what I need. No game this week is what I was looking for.
Did you pull anything out in the midweek carry?
I didn't, mate. No, I was I had a DMP. Did I have a DMP? I think I had one DMP and super rare Threshy. And then I had, Ledesma come off the bench, obviously, in my under 23 rare pro lineup, which killed it, but it wouldn't have really made too much of a difference if I'm being honest. Yeah, like I had Ferreira captain. He scored like a 95 with the captain bonus, which was nice. But yeah, other than that, nobody really popped off. Brady got injured. So like, yeah, it was a bad week if I'm being honest. Really bad week.
Yeah.
But it happens.
Well, I'll be back on the channel later today to open that wee tier 2 reward. I think we've spoke about that already, but I just wanted to give everyone a wee reminder as we're getting to the deadline, Harry. Less than T-2 minutes to go as you frantically get those Triple XP Academy teams locked and loaded in. I hope everyone who's tuned into the stream had a good time and has got all the stuff locked and loaded for the weekend to have a good time, whether you're watching finals, enjoying the weather, watching football, spending time with friends and family and everything else in between. Should be a good weekend, should be a good game week, and thanks to everyone that did join us.
100%. I'm actually going to watch a USL League One game tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
anyone we know, teams or players or managers or anything?
No, not manager. I mean, I don't know who they're playing against actually, but the home team won Knox. They, yeah, I don't know. I think they're playing North Carolina something, but yeah, they play at home tomorrow. So I'm going to be going to going to watch that, which will be somewhat fun, I guess. That is 7:30 tomorrow evening, and I'm going to watch, like I was telling you before stream, I'm going to watch the new Guardians of the Galaxy later tonight, so that'll be fun. I don't have anyone playing tonight, so stress-free Friday for me.
That's it, man. And I think I'll be taking kids to go and see Spider-Man this weekend, so it's a comic book movie themed weekend then perhaps as well.
I love it.
Which is all good fun. But yeah, we're about there, guys. I think we're maybe about 20 seconds a minute or something away to the deadline. Where are we? Not far at all. There. Yeah, we're in. Boom. Game week is locked, guys. Harry, did you get all your teams in?
I think I missed out on one academy, which is fine. That's fine. I can live with that. Just looking at my teams in terms of when they play. Yeah, lots of Sundays, a couple of Saturdays actually, more than I kind of thought they would be. I do have Pete on Monday. That does scare me a little bit. I hate Mondays. I hate Monday sort of games. But yeah,
I'm just looking at the midweek that's opened up. Full turkey.
I've almost got like a full under 23 rare pro team.
Libertadores and K-League as well, Harry. Where are you getting your players from?
Literally everywhere. Literally K-League goalkeeper, Turkish super defender, Varela super. I did have a forward who had a game.
And then China won MLS
for some
game.
Reason. On Sorare data they were showing the St. Louis played Dallas, but I don't know if that's true. Is it?
I didn't see it just now on Sorare.
It was here it is. See? Oh, let me show you my screen. Dallas, St. Louis, but I don't know how is that a thing? This is game week 378. Let me have a look at. Did they play? No, they don't. That's weird. They play Portland next weekend. Yeah, that's really weird. Okay, yeah, I can see. So on SofaScore, it says that was it. Remember the postponed game?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was it was rained off or lightninged off. Oh, it is midweek, Germ says. Only 40 minutes will be played though.
Oofed. So what does that mean? You only get 40 minutes of points?
Yeah, but I don't mind. It's Ferreira. He'll do something. But yeah, I need an extra player. Or if Paxton's back, I would play Paxton. But there can't be many teams this midweek with like full sort of under 23 contingencies. So
it feels like it could be a long week, Harry, until the next deadline stream. If that midweek, I've not got much on.
Yeah.
And then this weekend is what it is, So
well, we're slowing down now, mate, aren't we? We're slowing down big time.
Let's hope it flies in. Let's hope we have a lot of fun. Harry boy, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for bringing the sun up with us where you are in the world. It means a lot, mate. I hope you have a good weekend.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you guys for watching. And wish you all the best.
Good luck, everyone. Stay out of trouble and all that good stuff.